Peace. Divine understanding, born of law. Set the record straight. Ancient of free Asiatics. Sunez 7 publication and production. Now we do it. It's all merged together. But the point I'm making is, you see, when you have what is called a study of a group. And so when you're looking at the group, you say, well, what is the common denominator? So for me, the common denominator was, well, let's just open it right? Because it has something to do with who's the original man, original man's Asiatic black man, maker on the queen of planet Earth, father civilization, and God of the universe. And that points to Lamb's wool as the foundational hair on your head. Foundational hair on your head is Lamb's wool. That's the root of who the original people are on this planet, right? And so we had the amalgamated children. Some of them don't feel that way because they're on the side of the European, not the Asiatics. And so they'll say things that are contrary to what Elijah and WD and the father taught. They'll have contrary. They'll have something that's not in conformity with the teaching of the noble prophet, Drew Ali. It won't be that, because you have to remember is knowledge of self and the detriment that was done to our people. And so a lot of times the amalgamated children side with the European. They feel more identity with that side than they do with this side. So anything that elevates us to a level that doesn't elevate the other side to the same level, they condemn it. Right? Don't think that the colonizer under the Spaniards, the Spaniard colonizer from Spain and Portugal, they're, if not just as bad, worse than the English. Definitely the French, the Spaniards, the Portuguese, the Italians, and England attacked Africa. All of the tribes of Africa were attacked by Germany, Finland, Sweden, Denmark, Leopold. What? That didn't happen? And so now I remember the Moors entering Spain, and they didn't bring any original women with them. And they amalgamated, miscegenated, married, concubined the Spaniard women from Spain, Iberian Peninsula. And 711 to 1492. And we taught them a lot. But the children of those unions, I think it was more than half, and even that's today. The children, the amalgamated children, the half originals in the lesson say these are half originals, but it's the amalgamated children. I don't like to say, but most of the time they be on the devil's side. They don't be on your side, and they'll help the devil dismantle what you're doing. It's hard, but it's a fact. They'll be right up in our culture, using our language, the whole 9 yards. They'll be thinking they're you, and you'll be thinking they're them, and they'll be thinking they're us, and we'll all be kind of the same people. But when you look at the ways and actions, up north they call them German moves. You see the ways and actions, how they're either siding with Lamb's wool or they're siding with the European. That's a fact. So, when it comes to 120 lessons, you have to take it with a grain of salt when you're talking about some half originals are trying to say that the first degree in the 1 to 10 ain't right and exact. If the first degree ain't right, if the foundation ain't right, if the prophet ain't right, then the lessons ain't right, then the temple ain't right, then the whole manifestation ain't right. How could the foundation not be right and exact, and you think that the rest of it's right and exact too? Nah, that's a spy in our op. He the op, as the young people say, he the op. And so we're going to move on, because I'm done with that subject, because it's either you is or you ain't. You either with us or you not. But you'll find this is how the world works. You're going to understand that the world works that way. But we got the young guys, they're here to defend it and make sure that you know and understand that we're going to take it like it is. We're going to go right into it. And we're going to say, out of our mouths, that the Wisdom Build to Destroy degree is an actual fact and a solar fact. That's an actual fact and a solar fact. See, I say solar fact because if you track the Asiatic calendar, which is the first degree, see, when you're not talking about Asiatic calendar, you're talking about the first degree and 1 to 40, right? I gave you that formula. So when you want to track the zodiac based on the Asiatic calendar, you always say year, month, and days, right? So if we're talking about years, months, and days, that's a degree within its own self, am I not? That's what the degree is. Am I not a degree? Years, months, and days, is that not a degree? In what year was that? Right? Could be in what year was that? See, there's a year. And what year was that? It was in the year 8,400, right? Or they could take it to the next level and they could say, well, who was the founder? So that's still dealing with the year. Or it was predicted of him to make devil 8,400 years before he was born. Who was the original man, right? Or an original man who was a scientist by the name of Yakub. See, goes right back to original. The lamb's wool is the point I'm making, is the lamb's wool. See, a lot of tribes on earth, they do not like the lamb's wool and they don't want the foundational manifestation to be from you. They want it to be from them. Well, I never believed that the first degree was right and exact. That says a lot right there. Like, how are you in a law school teaching Allah's mathematics and you don't bear witness to the original man? Man, are you teaching that too? Wow. Threw me off with that one. When I heard that, I was like, really? Is that like somebody made that say that? Because I don't know if he really said that or not. If he did, I don't bear witness. But if he didn't, then somebody's playing games. But anyway, it makes me think of the rich slave makers of the poor, who teach the poor lies and believe that the almighty truth of God is a spook and cannot be seen by the physical eye, otherwise known as the bloodsuckers of the poor. Because that's some definitely 10% shit, straight up and down, right? And so we're going to move on, but we're not going to move on, but we always move on, right? Anyway, because we're not going to stay charged up if we don't follow the degrees. We won't be charged up. Our manifestations will slide away, right? Now, how will they slide away? All right, let's start with the opening. In the opening, you do the 3-day fast. And after the 3-day fast, you understand 1 meal a day. So you're doing anywhere from 13 hours, 16, 18, 23, 24 hours before the next meal in the physical composition is made manifest. That's definitely a good rebooting process. You should be able to do that for about 120 days. And that should reboot your system. And in the process, you'll also heal the body and detox it. A complete detoxing and healing of the body after all of this propaganda from the physical and the mental that the devil has given us takes years. I like to work in 7-year sprees. The God said, based on his research, down at the mitochondria level, it could take about 7 years to get rid of all of the poison from the devil, especially on the food level. So, when you're quoting your lessons and you know and understand them, all right, saying now you're ready to go to the next level, like the God he just showed me, the 1 to 10. He did the 1 to 10. I was like, okay, my man, you got the 1 to 10. Wow. All right, so go into the 1 to 36, but still keep going back to the 1 to 10. Like, after you understand my name is W.F. Muhammad, then you go right back and go, who's the original man, Asiatic black man, maker, owner, queen, planner, of false civilization, and God of the universe. And you go on up till you get to what is the birth record of the said nation other than Islam? Buddhism, 35,000 years old, Christianity, 551 years old, right? So you're going to keep traveling that way, right? We're going to keep traveling that way, and then peace. And so now what we're going to do is, when we're going through the 1 to 36, because eventually we're going to get to the 1 to 14, 1 to 40, actual facts, solar facts. I know I keep jumping around because we have people that are past that. They're already, the God told me he was at, why does the devil teach the 85% of the mystery God brings all this to conceal the true and living God, which is the Son of Man, and to make slaves out of 85% by keeping him worshiping something they cannot see invisible. And he makes himself rich from their labor. 85% knows that it rain, hail, snow, and also hit thunder above their heads. But they do not try to learn who's causing all this. Have by letting 5% teach them. They believe in the 10% on face value. So, a lot of the times, it's not that the half originals are 10% on that. They're doing it because they bear witness to themselves as being the colored man. They know they got the colored man in them. And by having that, they don't want to bear witness because now I got to bear witness to, our highest up, lowest. It's a difficult war with them when they got both sides inside of them. That's a hell of a war, And I think we should be sympathetic to them for that. For even being able to try to get on this side, even if they can't. That's a hell of a war when you got the devil. It's just the mitochondrial level in you. It ain't like that you're, like a lot of us, our parents may have gotten raped in the prisoner of war camps in the 50 states and things of that nature. When you did that DNA thing, you seen some European blood in you. But that ain't the same as if you right here, especially if you half original through amalgamation, miscegenation, and then those half originals been amalgamating with each other. You see what I'm saying? And so now they become a whole little group of amalgamated people. They start thinking that based on what the devil taught them, that they're like a real race. Because if they're using nationality based on the UN, see how it gets convoluted? It gets very convoluted that way because if you're not going back to the root, you're using the devil's formulas. And so, of course, that's going to put more strain on your brain. But if you go to the root and you go Tropical Capricorn, Tropical Cancer in the equator, and Land's Will is the root, and then you go, who's the original man? And then from there, you would start using J.A. Rogers, Sex and Races, Volume 1, 2, and 3. And that would take you into other books. But the reason why I go with the J. Rogers' Sex and Races, Volume 1, 2, and 3 is because he's actually dealing with procreation and the process of man and woman coming together on the planet. And then he shows and proves that race is not a reality. So to say that the original man is not the maker, the owner, then who is in your eyesight? See, are we going to go into some mystery God worship and shit? That's what I'm saying. You like misleading the gods when you do that, because you pissing people off that's in the nation that doesn't even know what you're talking about. Like, if you could really explain that one, I'm damn near. Like, why isn't the first degree in the 1 to 10 right and exact? What made you say that? That you never felt like it was right and exact. So you've been with us all this time and you didn't bear witness to the first degree in the 1 to 10? Wow. That's some deep shit, man. I'm like, I wish they wouldn't have showed me that. I didn't want to know that about you. I always thought you was a little shaky, though. That's my word is born to the Father. You say some shaky shit, but I figure a lot of people say shaky shit, and so they do what they do, and it is what it is, but they ain't trying to disrespect a law and his mathematics. Try to act like a law didn't know what he was talking about. So law gave us the 1 to 10. But I mean, where you going with that? I don't know. Wow. But anyway, like I was saying, so we're going to take the devil off our planet. You can stay over there dealing with the devil on yours. And after we did the 16-hour fast per day, you have to understand, after that, don't put garbage in you. Right? Don't put any garbage in. So you have layers of this. You have stages. You have the rebooting stage. You have the healing stage. You have the destroy stage. You have the build stage. These are all stages, and they go on within a 24-hour period, a 38, 36-hour period. Some is 33. It just depends on what's going on, what kind of food you're eating, and what you consider food.